Absolutely. Thanks for being here. I'm Mike with Patriot Energy. I'm here with Spencer Rosen from Enphase, here to learn about the Enphase battery system and some exciting new developments they have. So, Spencer, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and some interesting stories about you? I know you have a few patents and things like that.
Thanks, Mike. You know, I've always been a home energy nerd. It's been my kind of passion for a long time. But what's been really fun is supporting power. When I first got to present our first battery product, I got to launch it on the virtual stage, like Tony Robbins style stage. And so, taking a best in class technology, providing it to an amazing company with lots of growth, it's just been super fun. So I've been able to become kind of like a mini celebrity on the Power platform. It's been super interesting. I am a regional sales manager for Enphase. I cover the area in which Power is one of my most important clients. That being said, I do nerd out on the product side of things. So I take customer feedback and I drive product innovation. And ultimately, we want to build products that are going to solve problems for our customers, and do it in a way that's exciting and innovative and elegant and easy for installers to implement, and groundbreaking, right? A lot of the Enphase backup kind of capabilities have been best in class, leading the market, right? We're the first product that could go off grid from the app itself, right? Like, wow, you can actually just take yourself off grid. That's amazing. We were the first product that I know of that had a fully integrated generator integration where a generator can charge the batteries. First company to release the IQ8 inverter, where you can have virtually unlimited solar power during the daytime to charge your batteries. So these innovations have just been kind of building and building and building. And we have a lot of very exciting things in store. I wouldn't even say over the next year, over the next couple of months, that we think are really going to support the market with NEM 3.0 and with expanding battery sales nationwide.
Awesome. So, just a little bit personal. Can you tell me a little bit about the patent that you have?
Yeah, well, when I'm super proud of it. When we first launched our battery product, we were doing all these trainings and we were saying, okay, you can design a battery based on how much time it needs to run, but then you need to have the surge take into account if there's a large load, but then you need to have continuous power and you need to take the ratio into account. And it was just very complicated. And so I nerded out on the spreadsheet for like 100 hours where I built a formula that took all those things into account based on specific loads. People could just click on or off buttons. Hey, I want to back up my air conditioning. I want to back up my lights. I want to back up this. And it optimized the right battery system size. This is the right battery system size. And, the company started using it kind of internally to help design systems. And it was so useful that the software team went ahead and picked it up and said, look, let's create a platform. And so this platform first was an online app that's actually still available. And then it got integrated into our solar design tool called Solargraph. And there was a patent submitted for that. And I don't know if it's been approved or not, but I'm on the patent documentation and my first patent, and really proud about it. Hopefully I have a lot more in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know personally that's come in a huge amount of handy. It makes a very complicated project a whole lot easier. I don't want to say easy, but a lot easier. So thank you for that. So if you would, just give me kind of a brief overview. Describe the Enphase battery system, just in a nutshell.
Well, the Enphase platform was always built on a few kind of fundamental ideas. The first is distributed architecture, which is that, we don't have a single point of failure. If one microinverter on the roof was to fail, everything else was to still work, right? It'd be like a cloudy day. The battery is built the same way with multiple modules, modularity. So if one part was to fail, everything else would still work. It also creates a building block based system. So as you add more batteries, you can expand the system over time. It creates flexibility to put the right battery system size at the home. It also is based on our AC architecture. AC architecture being a system that connects, you'd say, on the AC bus, on a central bus, like kind of on the main panel bus, right? Some systems go through a single inverter where you take solar and batteries and they all run on DC before you get to the meter. You know, there's a little bit of an advantage when it comes to efficiency when you have DC architecture, but what you lose out on that Enphase focuses on with AC architecture is flexibility. We can basically add anything, solar and storage and generators and EV chargers, and they all come together on this AC bus. So that's kind of two of the fundamental components. And then the IQ8 was really a breakthrough in terms of intelligence. It was the first time somebody put a supercomputer as intelligent as the IQ8 into a home energy management system. And the IQ8's really been powering the next generation of products. It's what allows the generator to feed into the system when we talk about generator integration and have the IQ8s kind of back off as needed or come back up when more power is needed. So we got these super smart IQ8s, we got this AC architecture, we have this distributed modular system, and all of those together create a pretty flexible platform. The other thing I would say that's pretty interesting too is, you know, since we acquired that EV charger company about 2 years ago, used to be called Clipper Creek, now it's just Enphase EVSE. We've started to really innovate on EVSE, and I can talk about that a little bit more today. But EV chargers that can smart, intelligently charge off of the solar in a very dynamic way, and we're really working on our roadmap to do EV to home. We call it, you know, V to X or V to G, vehicle to grid, where we can actually take the car and use the battery power in the car to charge the home. That's still at least 1.5 years, 2 years out, but it's part of our roadmap, and it's something we're really focused on.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's something, I mean, as I'm sitting at a fast charger in my Ford Lightning I'm sitting on a 139 kilowatt hour battery right now. And to be able to tap into that for the hybrid storage of the future is, you know, I think that's definitely the way we're going. So
Totally.
very cool. Very cool. So just to kind of follow up on that, you talked about how you're AC coupled and you know, most of the competition is AC coupled. But you guys are in, you know, it's a direct communication between the battery and your system. You know, you're not an inverter agnostic battery, as I call it. So can you talk a little bit about that communication and, you know, if that gives you an advantage and what that advantage might be?
Yeah. So the way other third-party batteries typically can communicate with the solar system is through frequency and voltage.
Mhm.
Basically, they change the way the power looks, right? So that the solar turns kind of goes up or goes down. Now, why is this important? Well, if you picture when you go off grid, you need to be able to tell the solar to ramp up or ramp down. Why? Because if the battery's full, you have no place for the solar to go other than the loads, other than the house, right? So you have your house that's using energy. Imagine the solar system has already filled up the battery. Some way, the solar system has to reduce the output. So the battery system will kind of communicate through this frequency shifting. Now, Enphase does it in a way that no other product does that I know of, because our system is fully connected, meaning we have another form of communication. It's an Enphase software speaking to Enphase software. And so we can actually tell it through software to ramp up and down minutely, accurately, based on exactly where we want the solar to be. And that's what allows things like the IQ8 to have way more solar on our system than another system can put solar on. It's what allows the IQ8 to integrate with a battery with a generator. It allows the IQ8 to ramp up or down with our EV charger. So to talk about our new EV charger a little bit, imagine that, you know, you're in a NEM 3.0 environment, a non-favorable net metering environment, one where you don't get a lot of money for the extra energy you sell back to the grid. So if you're in that environment, what's going to happen is you're going to want to capture as much energy in your own home's loads, meaning you want to use that energy, use it or lose it, or you want to put it in the battery. So imagine the battery's full and your home's not using that much energy. Well, what you want to do is you want to actually try to turn on loads. Now, how do you do that? Well, the way our EV charger works is that the EV charger will actually turn on, ramp up, so it can take the extra energy from the IQ8s on the roof. The IQ8s have to ramp up, right, to produce that energy. That kind of really dynamic control, like that's only possible through what we call secondary communication, right? It's not possible through kind of sending a signal to the IQ8s, because that would, it just would interact in a kind of a non-controlled way in a microgrid. So we have a lot of control. We have very, very direct communication, and that's how we achieve the results we want to achieve.
So this EV charger you talk about, that sounds super cool. Is that something that's out yet? I remember at Power World, or at the Power Virtual Convention, it was kind of released and it was coming out soon. Is that, do you have a timeline on that?
Yeah, I don't know exactly the timeline of when that product will be at each individual local distributor, but I know it's shipping like now. It should be
Okay.
available July, August. I think we're already through beta. I think UL approval is already done. So this isn't like quarters out. This is all hitting the market this summer. So you can expect that, you should feel very confident. If you have a pipeline that's 1 or 2 months out, that you should sell, you can sell this product, and it'll be available when your customers need it.
Cool. And just to follow up, so I've kind of become an EV charger nerd as a recent EV purchaser. Is that something that, let's say a customer already has one of your systems, how hard is it to integrate that charger to it?
If they already have our system, you can absolutely integrate the charger. I don't know, kind of which vintage of system with which batteries are going to operate in which way exactly right now. But on our website, we should have all the information in terms of what kind of capabilities are available with each generation of system. As the solar on the roof gets more sophisticated with the IQ7s and the IQ8s, there's just more that they can do. They can respond faster, and they have more flexibility to charge and operate in an off-grid mode in ways that the IQ, maybe the IQ6s or the M series inverters just don't have the speed to respond.
Okay, perfect. So going on to the next question, there's obviously a lot of new players coming into the battery market as the market's growing. It's not just us here in Florida with our pesky hurricanes that need batteries. Now, suddenly California, the Carolinas, and so on suddenly have this new need for batteries, and that's drawing more players to the market. And a lot of them seem like they're trying to come in and just undercut a lot of the established players, like yourself, in terms of price or one up on a certain specific spec. So just your top thing, why should a customer choose your battery over another, specifically, let's say an AC coupled inverter agnostic battery, the other thing that would be an option if they had an Enphase solar system? What makes putting an Enphase battery with an Enphase system better than, let's say, a Franklin or one of the new Tesla batteries that are coming out?
With an Enphase system, you mean solar on
Yeah.
the roof? Well, I don't think it's a big leap of imagination to understand that when you have products that are all part of one ecosystem, you're going to get a better experience, right? In Apple iPhone with the iPods, they just work better than the iPhone with any other headset. My wife's, she likes to save money where she can. She bought another headset. She has an iPhone. She tried it for a while. She tried the, my upgraded version, and it's just night or day, right? Like you open this up and it tells you this is open. So, anytime you want to connect, it's right there. So I think fundamentally having an all-in-one system has fundamental advantages. One app, one warranty. I mean, that's pretty simple. I think the other thing to really focus on when you compare companies and who you want to work with is Enphase's commitment to customer service. And it's not just like our values, it's like logistically what kind of capabilities we have. So, our customer support team is, it's worldwide, but in Boise, Idaho is the headquarters. Last I checked, we had 300 or 400 people up there. Somebody even said 800 the other day. I was like, wait, how did we get that big? But we have hundreds of people that are US based. Our customer service is 24/7, 365. So we have literally hundreds of people that are US based to provide support for our customers that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I don't know any other company that has that. We typically pick up the phone in a few minutes when people call us, and you should hear our CEO or our VP of customer experience. If it's over 1 minute on our kind of quarterly review, they say it's too high. We want it less than 1 minute. In fact, they say we want to pick up the phone when it rings every time. So we're really focused on customer service. The other resource we've actually built up a lot over the last couple of years is our field service technician department. I was actually just on the line with the gentleman who manages that. Great leadership has been provided to that group, and that group, I think, is up to 80 people. So we have 80 certified electricians nationwide who support our products in the field. If there's a battery issue, we don't even have to remove the battery. They can actually come out with a card and replace the card. So from a fundamental kind of who am I partnering with kind of company, choosing Enphase is really like a safe choice, right? You're going to be supported. You're going to have a company that's got 15 years of experience in solar, a company that's only growing, a company with an international footprint. And so I think that's one of the core kind of reasons that people are choosing Enphase these days. It's because they trust us. We've got 8 generations of microinverters, now in our 4th generation of batteries. We've been doing this a long time, and we're making the investments needed to really support our customers with best-of-class service.
Awesome. And yeah, the call center thing, I think anyone watching this who's ever called a tech company call center will appreciate American-based answering the phone.
Yep.
So that's huge. Actually, I didn't know that, so that's very good to know. So, obviously when people think about batteries, at least for me being based in Florida, the first thing that comes to mind is battery backup. When you have an outage, we have storms, you have brownouts or prescribed blackouts out in California. But as a lot of policies have shifted, suddenly batteries are being needed on a daily basis in markets where they never were. So how is Enphase approaching things like NEM3 or markets like Hawaii, where there's really no net metering, or even some copycats like in the Carolinas, where they're starting to copy some of the NEM3 policies? How are you guys handling that? And I guess specifically, programs that your batteries can run, system modeling, system design, things like that.
Yeah, it's a great question. Enphase really looked at NEM 3.0 not just as like a small change in the market, but as a whole new product launch, right? We actually rethought our products and our approach to the market as really needing to address a major change in the solar industry. And we're actually fortunate. I wouldn't say lucky, but we had started with what we'd call a grid-tied battery with no backup. In 2017, it was our first battery release. And so right now in Germany and Australia, the battery that's being rolled out and sold is actually a battery without backup. Now, backup's a great benefit to a lot of customers who want to have batteries. But the challenge is that batteries with backup, they are expensive to install. They require a lot of electrical labor. They require additional components. And so when we look at a market like NEM 3.0, what we're really saying is, okay, what changed in the market? What changed is the value that customers get for the energy they sell back to the grid, right? That's really what changed. And so to address that change, to support that change, and to support the solar industry overall, let's provide the most cost-effective solution to solve that problem. Right, to solve the NEM 3.0 problem, to solve the financial problem. We still think a lot of customers are going to get backup, but we think customers should think about them in 2 different categories. Okay, one, how much of a return on investment am I getting from a solar with a battery without backup? Right, so that's one. Like, what's the payback, and how do I minimize the cost and improve the payback and return on investment? But then there's, do I want backup? Do I want to keep the lights on for my family if the grid goes down? And for a lot of people, the answer is yes. But the investment there, the extra 6 or 8 or 10 or however much somebody spends depending on their system configurations, $1,000 they want to spend to that should have a different kind of value benefit that they're evaluating, and they should spend that money for the value they're getting. And so that's how we're kind of thinking of it. We're thinking about, okay, grid tied solves this problem. Let's lead with grid tied, or solar plus storage without backup. And then add on backup for the customers that value resilience, that get a benefit from keeping the lights on. And because we have tens of thousands of systems that were installed in this kind of configuration, we know our systems perform very, very well in those scenarios. The other thing you're going to see, and I'm going to do a little bit of sneak preview here because our new battery has already been announced. It's already on our website. We're working with Power to get it launched in the Power platform. It's a very powerful battery, meaning it can discharge very, very quickly. And in markets like NEM 3.0, where there's a very, very specific window of time where you can get a lot of benefits for the energy you sell back to the grid, having a battery that can discharge quickly can be very, very financially valuable over time. Now, when people compare, they say, oh, I got 10 kilowatt hours over here, I got 10 kilowatt hours over here. They're both going to provide about the same payback, but not true. If a battery can discharge a lot more quickly, right, during the period where you're getting $3 per kilowatt hour, it could mean hundreds of dollars of additional savings every year for that customer. So we got this super versatile, super high powered battery that can discharge very quickly, that can charge faster, right? And so it creates some kind of opportunities for batteries to do things that other batteries in the market can't do. The other thing I'll mention about grid tied, which is a nice advantage that you'll get right out of the gate, Mike, because I know you're kind of a battery ninja, is when people have backup, they often, are keeping a 30% reserve.
Mhm.
Minimum, right, is 30%.
Yeah, we do 100 for most customers in Florida.
Some people do 100%, right?
Yeah.
So, they keep a lot in their batteries because they want to have that juice available if the grid goes down. So when you go grid tied battery, we're discharging 95% every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can get, let's say you had a 13 kWh with backup, you can get the same savings from a 10 kWh grid tied from Enphase, right? Because you're discharging the whole battery, you're using all of the battery capacity you have. The other very exciting announcement, if you haven't heard it, we got a lot going on here at Enphase right now, is that starting July 1st, so that's 10 days from now, from the recording date of this video, Enphase batteries are shipping with a 15-year warranty standard. As far as I know, that's the best-in-class battery warranty in the industry. So where batteries are becoming more and more of a requirement for any solar system, giving homeowners certainty and confidence in their investment and the lifespan of the investment is something that we really wanted to provide. And so we think installers are going to be able to really run with the product and help kind of create enough trust with more customers to move forward with this extended warranty. So yeah, a lot of exciting things happening in Enphase right now.
For sure. So kind of going off on a tangent here,
Yeah.
because that was a two-part question, but you got me excited with the longevity part. We don't want to get too nerdy on here. Well, I do, but the people watching this probably don't want us to. But there's a couple different battery chemistries and pros and cons to both. But I know you guys follow the lithium iron phosphate chemistry, and would you say that has something to do with why you guys have the confidence to give a 15-year warranty on a battery that you're cycling so deeply, so frequently?
Yeah. You bring up like so many cool points there. One being, most homeowners don't want or don't have the kind of experience or level of knowledge yet. I mean, everybody's capable of learning. I have a lot of homeowners who are super, super smart and who have kind of done so much research. But most homeowners initially, they don't know the difference between a kilowatt hour and a kilowatt and about different loads. And so sometimes it's very hard to distinguish your product from competition. You can talk about the differences. You can talk about the benefits. You can talk about, oh, IQ8s, you can get so many more on the roof. Well, what does that mean? But the value proposition of, hey, this product has a 10-year warranty, or this product has a 12-year warranty, and the product from Enphase has a 15-year warranty, that's something that everybody immediately understands. So one of the things I was super excited about when I found out we were extending it to 15 years is, wow, what a simple benefit to communicate to homeowners. And it's a benefit. You're absolutely right. We can provide because of the chemistry, right? If it was a different type of chemistry that didn't have the longevity that LFP has, we probably wouldn't be able to provide that 15-year warranty. It's also why we're able to get that 9540A safety certification. LFP, lithium iron phosphate, has better safety records and better performance through safety testing than a lot of the other standard chemistries that were used in batteries, not like car batteries, but lithium ion batteries. And so we're able to achieve the highest level of safety standards, which, as you know, creates more flexibility for equipment placing in a lot of jurisdictions. So, Enphase, as we went to market with this new battery, we talked about, hey, here are the things we're changing, right? We're increasing power, right? We're increasing surge. We're hardwiring our communication for fast updates, right? For reliable communication, for flexibility of location of equipment, right? And I'm not going to nerd out on this too much, we're introducing a whole new level of power control systems to really eliminate main service upgrades in a way that we've never been able to do before. So those are all the changes, but there were also things we said, hey, we're not going to change the fact that our system has microinverters. We're not going to change modularity. We're not going to change our chemistry. We believe that we chose the right chemistry, and it's the safest, longest lasting chemistry out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you already know, but it's music to my ears hearing the hardwire, especially when things are located so close together. Just use wires. That's I say that about everything, but so much less can go wrong.
Yeah.
So cool. We talked about all these new emerging markets, but I don't want to forget about my home market and kind of the original for batteries. And
Yep.
So we've got storm season. I mean, I just drove through a torrential downpour, and we've had some pretty crazy. Might have even had a tornado last night here in the southeast, and the West Coast where you are just had one of the stormiest winters on record. I think some of the ski resorts out there are saying that they're going to stay open year round this year, just to say they did it, which is insane. But for these areas where we've got inclement weather and other things causing blackouts, what gives you the advantage for backup purposes, especially with this new battery that you have coming out? Obviously the power output you talked about, but translate that to something that a homeowner or a new sales rep or something like that can understand.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a few things we should focus on if we're going to talk about real resilience, right? And the first and most fundamental is power, right? So power, for anybody who hasn't been to my trainings and heard how I describe it, I know there's a few different ways to explain it. The analogy I give for power is that if the energy capacity is like the size of a lake of water, right? And when that lake is full, it's like the battery's full with water, just like the battery would be full with energy, right? And if the lake's empty, it's like the battery's empty with energy. Power equivalently is kind of like the size of the pipe. It's how fast you can get water out of that lake. And so that the larger that pipe, the more appliances you can run at the same time, and the larger appliances you can run on backup. So our new battery takes the pipe size that we had for each kWh and it doubles it. So we can support any load that's on a 20 amp breaker with a single 5 kWh battery. With two 5 kWh batteries, we can support any load that sits on up to a 40 amp breaker. And with 15 kWh, just 15 kWh, which is just one or two more than Tesla or Franklin, we can support any load up to a load that sits on a 60 amp breaker. So as far as I know, it's the highest capacity battery, modular AC coupled battery, kind of general market battery. I mean, there's a few like, you know, Radio
Mhm.
Shack type companies that are, serving a very small portion of the market, and good for them, right? But as far as the general market, it's the highest output battery, and it's the first one where for only 15 kWh from a power capacity, not necessarily an energy, meaning runtime, but from turning things on, it can support whole home with as small as a 15 kWh battery. So I think that's a real game changer. And then the surge almost triples our previous surge per
Awesome.
kWh. So we're able to really support larger loads, more loads simultaneously in backup. The other major thing that we have is we have IQ8s. And IQ8, I have a customer right now in Guam. Guam was hit by a major hurricane, and they lost power all over the island. And some sites weren't configured correctly, so we actually send somebody else to go take care of them. And what they're finding is that the sites with IQ8s can do what's called black starting, meaning we call it, jump starting. It basically, IQ8s can turn on, right, with no battery power. IQ7s and other types of inverters need a battery with juice in it to turn the solar on. Our IQ8s can turn on with no batteries, just from the sun. And so in a real emergency situation where, you're running your batteries as low as you need to every day, and, there might be a chance where the battery gets to a very, very low capacity, having the flexibility and power of the IQ8s to be able to turn the system on just from solar, it's something that I don't know any other system has. Combined with a deployable field service technician team that flies around the country and goes we were in Florida during the last storms. We have team members in Guam. I've heard tornadoes in the Midwest right now. We're kind of deploying a special group. That kind of service combined with the technology, I think it really does position customers for the best chance of having the most security during an extended outage.
Yeah, for sure. So I know, I really like your analogy with the lake. I haven't thought of it that way. I'm usually kind of translating it, if you will, to customers, because most people understand their car, right? So the energy, the kWh is your fuel tank size. The power is the size of your engine. So, the bigger the engine you have, the more powerful it is, the stronger it is, the more things it can run. But you can have the strongest engine in the world with a tiny fuel tank, and you're not going to run for very long.
Yep.
And vice versa. I mean, you could have a gigantic fuel tank running on, a little Harbor Freight 2-stroke motor, and you're not going to do a whole lot with it. So, the trick for us on the sales side is designing the system that is the best pairing of those two. And so, that kind of ties back into the design software that you worked on. And especially for people who are newer to this and haven't done it before, that's definitely something I think they should check out. But yeah, very, very cool. And some major improvements there, especially in a state here where backup is so prevalent. This is going to really help win over some people away from their generators and portable or Generacs. As the cost of fuel and propane and all that has been going through the roof. So very, very cool stuff. You jumped the gun on me on this next one, but was there anything else you wanted to add in terms of any major news? I know you talked about the warranty, you talked about the new battery, but maybe you hinted any new products or any cool accessories that you guys have coming out or already on the market that people might not know about that pair well with the system?
Well, I think the big news for Enphase is that we're launching our new battery. It's twice as powerful, has virtually 3 times the surge, is more reliable, faster to commission, and flexible in terms of location. It comes with a 15-year warranty, and it'll come in the option to have it as grid tied or backup. So you don't have to install it with backup if you don't want to. You can add backup in the future, but that creates a very, very cost-effective option for a customer in a market like NEM 3.0. It also will come with power control systems. I'm not going to get into that in this call, but it's a way for us to use software to eliminate main service upgrades. And it really is the most elegant way to do that, because you get the benefit of having more power during the daytime when off grid.
Yes.
We didn't really go into it that much, right? But we talked a little bit about AC versus DC. Hey, DC can sometimes be a little more efficient, but the real drawback of DC is you're still limited by that central inverter, right? During a blackout, right, when you don't have power, you can't really get the batteries and the solar to power the loads more than that central inverter can provide. But when you have an AC coupled system, you got inverters on the roof and in the battery, you get twice the power during the daytime. So you get the benefit of that, but without having to add both those up for backfeed. So you kind of eliminate the main service upgrade, but you still get the benefit of that double power during the daytime to support larger loads and do something like top off your EV charger. So we got our new battery based on our great platform with more power. We got our new EV charger, which is connected. It's going to do magical things. It's not going to charge the house from the car yet, but it will do things like ramp up the EV charger so you're not selling energy back to the utility for 5 cents per kilowatt hour. The new batteries will come with some new bells and whistles a little bit later in Q3, which I'm not going to get into right now. Things like floor mounts. Our NEM 3.0 kind of go-to-market is very, very strong. So we're really excited about, these products. We also are now integrated with SPAN too.
Awesome.
So that's an integration, that took a little while, but SPAN really stepped up and saw that Enphase is, a market leader, and they really wanted to integrate with their product. So I think you got all the options. At this point, it's just about supporting customers and building that awareness that, like, wow, it's really possible today to have solar and storage and an EV. You're living in the future today. You don't have to wait. Like, the technology's available now. It's cost effective. It's often much less than you're paying for your utility bills, and you get all this great tech and resilience. So I think it's just a matter of us getting the message out to the right homeowners and just supporting them with good design and, expectation setting and education. And then we'll help homeowners and help us save the world at the same time. Pretty fun industry to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. And for any power reps watching this, if you've heard, SPAN is officially coming to the platform. I've done a few of them already. Amazing product. Super glad you guys are integrated with them, and we'll try and get them on and do an interview with them to introduce you to that amazing new tool, and really, like you said, the home of the future today. So
yeah,
that's all I have.
It's super exciting. Double power with our batteries with the SPAN. I mean, you can get a small battery, still have the power to turn on things, but if the battery's running low, it's just, I think it's really the best of all worlds. And yeah, let me know how I can support you guys. We're going to be doing lots of trainings as the new battery rolls out. Hopefully very, very soon. Thanks for your patience. We really value the partnership with Power and appreciate you guys taking care of our customers and supporting them with Enphase technology.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, hey, thanks for taking time. And I guess it would be afternoon for you, evening here. But taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us and help educate the world. And I really appreciate it. If anyone has any questions about batteries, needs help with it, feel free to reach out to me, through Facebook, mike@patriotenergy.com. If it's something, we don't want to blow Spencer up unless you want to share your info, but if it's something that we need to take up the chain, I can do it, or feel free yourself.
Yeah. For Power, we have office hours every Tuesday at 11:30 Pacific time, so you can feel free to join those. We also have a Power Facebook group where you can post questions and we get great engagement, so you can feel free to do that there. And, Mike, I think there are only a few people on the Power platform that really took a leadership role with storage, and you were definitely one of them, one of the top leaders on the platform of storage. And that's, it takes it takes a passion, for solving challenging problems. And, although it's not rocket science, you got to take the time to learn and get educated. And I really acknowledge you for being that kind of human being that wants to provide the right solution for your customer and going above and beyond, because, you solved a ton of problems, not just for customers, but also for power reps that were trying to figure it out and really provide leadership, right? Which is going first, doing it first, figuring it out, seeing what worked, refining your understanding, providing solutions, kitting things in a way that made sense. And that's the kind of leadership that, power professionals really need. So definitely appreciate the partnership. Excited to continue to work with you, and enjoy that electric ride home.
Yeah, definitely. And likewise, you've always been a great resource. So um, that'll do for today. But thanks again, and looking forward to seeing what else is coming out in Q3 now that you teased me a little bit.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks so much.